Welcome to episode 25 of Queer Onda El Paso, Amor en Familia, a conversation about PFLAG El Paso.
PFLAG's history began in 1972 when its founder, Jean Munford, marched with her gay son in the Christopher Street Liberation Day March, holding a Parents of Gay Unite in Support of Our Children sign. The overwhelming positive response led to the first support group meeting in 1973, which evolved into a national organization by 1982. Initially focused on parents of gay and lesbian individuals, and later expanding to include bisexual and transgender people, becoming a key advocate for the LGBTQ+ community.
PFLAG El Paso envisions a world where diversity is celebrated and every person is respected, valued, and affirmed, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression.
Our guest today is Margarita Martinez Almeida, who is the president of PFLAG El Paso. Margarita, welcome to Queer Onda El Paso.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation.
So we will, just to let our audience know, that we will be going back and forth in English and Spanish, which I think is appropriate for a podcast called Queer Onda El Paso. Mm-hmm. So let's start by just learning a little bit about yourself. Margarita, tell me about how you became involved with PFLAG. Tell us about your personal journey, how you found the need to do that within your own family.
Okay, that started about 8 years ago when my daughter came out as transgender. And I wasn't sure how to support her, what to do as a mother. I was very confused. I was afraid, and I didn't know where to look for information. That's when I found PFLAG, and I found the Borderland Rainbow Center. So I started getting involved with PFLAG, and I got an invitation to be part of the board. And, well, I'm still here 8 years later.
Wow, I think most people would be so lucky to have a supportive mother like that, particularly going through a transgender journey. And from finding out about the organization to now becoming president. Tell us, what was your first impression of the organization? What did you learn? I mean, what was your first interaction? And again, feel free to say it in English or Spanish, whatever you're comfortable talking about. But describe to me the first time you went to the Borderland Rainbow Center, the first time that you went to a PFLAG meeting.
Okay, I was very confused. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know because I was afraid. And I had so many questions, and I thought that I was alone, that was happening. I was the only one that was living this as a mother. And then when I went to the first support sessions, I knew that I met other parents, and I didn't feel alone anymore.
And how has your daughter embraced the organization, or how has she, benefited from the organization itself in terms of the quality of her life?
And how did she feel about you getting involved in PFLAG?
Well, she's not very involved in the organizations, and that was a little bit confusing for me the first years, because I got involved and she wasn't. So I didn't understand why she didn't come with me to the meetings, why she didn't go to the events. And I thought, well, she should be here with me. But no, one day she just told me, Mom, it's just that I just want to be myself, and that's it. So I was all ready with pintada de colores, and I was attending the events, and then I heard other moms that they were asking themselves the same questions. Why is not my child coming with me? And then I knew that they just want to be themselves, and that's it.
Yeah, without having to question or process it, they were just wanting to accept it and to have it come through. But as a parent, I'm sure that's where you all have to deal with. I am having to accept this and to see this change in my child.
Yes, because there is a long way to learn. There's so many things to learn, and I've met so many wonderful people, and And certainly I was there not only to support my child, I was there because I saw the need to, as a parent, I saw everybody like my children. Everybody became my children. And it's been a long and beautiful journey as a mother.
That's an interesting aspect that I had not thought about, the dynamic of what an organization like PFLAG could bring, in that we all are searching for identity. And when you're a young person and you've decided, I am a transgender person, or I am a gay man or a lesbian, we have to start working right away on how we identify. And so do parents, so now your identity as a parent shifted as well as your child's identity shifted. And maybe that's why, she went about her journey kind of to be left on her own, and you probably needed to understand your own identity and where you fit as a mother to a transgender child. Is that
Yes,
right?
That's correct. The one word that we say a lot in our support meetings, it's process, the process. LGBTQ people have their own process, and us as parents, we have our own process. And it's okay, it's different. And actually, the process for parents of gay children is very different than the process of the parents of transgender children. Mm-hmm. Very, very different.
Right.
And yes, for example, I tell many parents, especially for parents of transgender children, that it's okay to feel afraid. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to even, how do you say, grieve?
Yeah, grieve.
Yes. It's okay. It's fine. It's normal, because there are many changes that we have to go through to understand the process. And at the beginning, it's normal to feel sad, because in a way you kind of lose a child, but you get another child.
Right.
And that probably that's the hardest part as a parent of a transgender child. But when you understand that it's normal and it's okay to feel that way, you end up understanding and becoming a much better parent and supportive parent.
As someone who's never had a child, I've never had children of my own, but it would seem to me that whether you want to force that vision or not, it's the fact that you kind of have an idea of what you want your child's life to be.
Exactly.
And you kind of, in your own mind at least, have this little roadmap of what it's going to be like. And then nothing ever goes to plan. And things change, and people have to be who they are. And so a lot of that is that adjusting to a new plan and say, okay, well, what I had envisioned for my child is not at all what they had envisioned for themselves. And so we've got to reconcile that. Is that kind of the process?
Yes, that's correct. Many times when you have children, when you have your baby in your arms, you plan all their life. You think what they're going to study, what they're going to work, how many kids they're going to have, but life tells you, oh, I don't think so.
Right.
So probably expectations. That's a hard thing to face.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yes. Especially with transgender children. Yeah,
let's talk a little bit about that. I think that you really, PFLAG really was started before, the process was this. Gay men and lesbians were the first to become more visible. The transgender community was always kind of a little bit more secluded away from the movement, and now, of course, they're front and center, and everybody now has an understanding, at least, whether, they understand it completely or not, but certainly transgender people are more visible than they had been. And so when a child comes out as gay or lesbian, that's still the same process. Again, there are plenty of parents that have this plan for their child that they're going to marry a woman and have 8 kids and whatever, and it turns out now he's going to marry a man and maybe still have 8 kids, right? Mm-hmm. But with the transgender experience, that is a bigger change to understand, and a lot less is known about that. So tell me about your personal emotional reaction to your child coming out to you as transgender.
Well, It wasn't easy. The first months, probably, it wasn't easy. I was terrified, and that's something that I share my story with other parents when they come to our support meetings, because they see me now, and I'm so happy and proud of my daughter. I love her, but the first months after she came out, they were difficult months for me as a mother. I was sad. I was terrified. I didn't know how to be a good mom for her. I wanted to support her, but I was living my own process, my own grief. And but it took me some months I started going to the support meetings, meeting other parents, listening to their stories, getting to know the reality, how the things that they go through. And it's a process. It's a process. Yes.
Tell me about, and in your case, your process continued, because not only did you have the insight to go to a PFLAG meeting, but you became even more involved, and now you're president, and now you talk to parents that are going through similar experiences. Are some of your interactions with parents in Spanish? I mean, is it mostly in Spanish? Is it English? Is it in both? And is it? Do you see a difference in cultures that you deal with in terms of what kind of the family dynamic, and if you see a difference in if people being either less accepting or more accepting of transgender children? What is your idea there in terms of culture and your interaction with people and how they?
Well, 8 years ago, when I started going to the support meetings, all the meetings were in English, and it's been almost a year that we started the meetings also in Spanish, because we thought, well, we're living in El Paso, we need Spanish-speaking, meetings for Spanish-speaking people, and actually, we always have people in those meetings. Always, yes.
Do you tell the difference between the English group and the Spanish group? Or is it all just pretty much the same?
No, I would say it's pretty much the same, because we have, like in El Paso, this mixed culture, and I think it's the same. Like, for example, we have parents who struggle accepting their kids because of religious, they go to church. They go to church, and the priest tell them that, these people are going to heaven, and then they believe it, and they want to love their child, but the el padrecito said something else, so they're
struggling with their religious beliefs.
Yes, I think that's one of the hardest that we see.
Encounter.
Yes.
And I mean, El Paso is predominantly Catholic.
Yes.
And that's just what they teach.
And, so without, identifying anybody in particular, but can you share a story of talking to another parent, kind of peer-to-peer, of somebody that's going through a similar experience to yours? Maybe something that the thing about sitting in a group is that you learn from each other. It's not, it's a very much that kind of give and take, that sharing dynamic. So can you maybe share with us, and again, please feel free if the transaction occurred in Spanish, say it in Spanish, but if you, what have you learned, and what have what are you able to teach other parents? You see what I'm saying? What kind of dynamic occurs between the two?
Well, sharing stories, I think sharing stories is powerful, very, very powerful. And we all share a little bit of our lives, a little bit of our heart, and we are always learning. I mean, I've been there for 8 years, and every time I go to a support meeting, I learn something from people. And yes, something that it's sad, and I see it in a lot of families, is that sometimes they have to romper lazos, like with
break ties.
Yes, with their family members, because grandma doesn't accept, or the father doesn't accept, or so parents, sometimes they do that. They have to do that, or sometimes they don't know what to do because the mom is very supportive, but not the dad. And yes, it can be very difficult. But it always helps to listen to other stories and to know that they're not alone.
Right, they're not the first to go through it, and they won't be the last, unfortunately.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we can always learn from someone else's experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yes. PFLAG was born out of the love of a mother, so that's what we're continue to do.
Let's talk about that. Do you know a little bit about the history of PFLAG and how it started, what its focus was, and how that translates to today and some of the programs that you all offer? Because obviously a group, I don't want to say group therapy, but just a group session, a support group is really the right word, I think. But tell us a little bit about the organization itself. What kind of services, what kind of outreach do you all do?
Well, PFLAG was born in the 70s. It was born in New York City. And back in that time, it wasn't very common for parents to support their kids. So there was this gay kid that he was having some issues with discrimination, and he asked his mom to join him in a parade in Manhattan. And she said, "Yeah, I'll go with you. I'll support you." So she made a big sign saying that I support my gay son. So she was marching with her son, and people, when they saw her, they were like, "Oh my God, wow, look at this mom." And they got close to her. They were asking her, "Could you please talk to my parents? Could you please talk to my family so they can accept me and so you can explain?" So she saw the need of support and education for families, and she started a small support group in a church in Manhattan. That church still there, and it has some pride signs outside.
That's wonderful.
Yes. So that's how PFLAG was born. And right now there's almost 400 chapters of PFLAG all over the United States.
Wow.
So we have one here in El Paso.
That's just one brave woman's
exactly. The love
placard
of one mother, the love of one mother, and I mean that's what builds the world.
Yeah, goosebumps.
Yeah, exactly. It really is a touching story to imagine that. When in the 90s, the UTEP brought the AIDS memorial quilt, parts of it here to the Sun Bowl, and I volunteered during that organization, and there was several parents there that travel all over the country with this AIDS memorial quilt because they had lost their children. And I mean, that was the first. I was still kind of in the closet at the time, but that's when I first realized how strong that can make a person to know that they have the complete acceptance of their parent. And so this one gay man in the 70s that had the benefit of having such a vocal and brave mother, because again, I kind of liken it very much like I'd said, the gay movement started, and now we're in the transgender movement. I mean, this is the group that is getting hit from all sides for no apparent reason. And so any time that you needed a mother's love or a father's love or a brother's love or a friend's love, it's now, particularly in the transgender community. So it's interesting how the organization has adapted and grown, but at the same time, at the very basis of it is love. Right.
Yes, the organization has grown because, right now the attacks have grown. So yes, so we're getting attacks to our children, to our families, to our community. So right now it's very, very important to be together as family members, to be there for our children. And sometimes that doesn't happen, because not all families are supportive still. Yeah. So that's why we're here. And yes, we want people to know that there's people who love them. There's organizations who support LGBTQ kids. And yes, we're here.
Margarita, do you want to talk about that? Some of the political and legal developments that are happening that affect the LGBTQ community. Do you want to talk about that in your meetings, or is it more a personal account?
No, it's more like a personal account. Families are afraid right now for everything that is happening. So right now we're just trying to provide a safe space, make community, and listen to each other. Let's see what we can offer, resources that we can find for everybody, and make community.
And you had mentioned earlier on that one of the things you first felt was fear.
Yes.
And so what were the fears that you had for your daughter?
Fears of the world. Yes, we live in a cruel world, and we had some in my family. We had some very good years after she came out, and we tried to be very supportive, and I became involved, and everything was okay. She was happy. But now with all this that is happening, I mean, a lot of families are afraid.
Yeah.
Our children are afraid.
Sure.
And we want to support them. We want to tell them that everything will be okay, but we're afraid as parents. So the fear came back.
Huh. Yeah, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon, because every time you turn on the news, transgender people are being put in the crosshairs because they're and I mean this in a very angry way, easy targets, because a lot of people think they understand the transgender experience, but they really don't. And it seems to me that if you were a parent of a transgender, that only feeds more fear when you turn on the news and you see all these things happening politically of how they're trying to disenfranchise your child. And so that creates even more fear, maybe not for them in terms of the acceptance of their life, but what kind of life are they going to be able to lead in this country? And that's a concern.
Yes, it is.
And also, I would imagine how being a transgender person and watching all of this happening around them, how that hurts their ego and their identity and their sense of comfort existing in this world. So, as parents, how do you all talk to each other to help your child work through their function as a transgender person?
Well, it seems like a lot of families are going through the same thing. A lot of our kids are, not back in the closet, but they're afraid to go out. So a lot of kids are afraid to go to school. A lot of kids are not going to school right now because they're afraid. A lot of kids are not working because they're afraid. And we're learning to find ways to support them, because this is all new these times.
Right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very challenging times
It is.
for a great number of people. Transgender people at the very top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what kind of programs does the organization PFLAG offer? So what kind of, what can one expect? I mean, you talked about the meetings, so I'm assuming anybody's welcome to these meetings. And when do you all meet? It's at the Borderland Rainbow Center, and so we can provide that information on our website. Mm-hmm. But tell us about what other kind of services that PFLAG does in terms of supporting the LGBTQ community.
Well, we have PFLAG El Paso. This is our local chapter. We have our support meetings. The second Thursday of the month, our meetings are in English. The fourth Thursday of the month are in Spanish at 7 p.m. And yes, we're meeting at the Borderland Rainbow Center, our sister organization.
Can you say a little invitation in Spanish to potential parents that might be able to attend in Spanish?
Sí, claro que sí. Invitamos a todos los padres de familia, a todas las personas que quieran acompañarnos, gente de la comunidad LGBTQ, familias, amigos, aliados. Nuestras reuniones de apoyo de PFLAG son el segundo jueves de cada mes, es en inglés. El cuarto jueves de cada mes es en español. Todos son bienvenidos. Les ofrecemos un espacio seguro donde pueden expresar sus preguntas, cualquier cosa que nos quieran compartir, sus experiencias, sus retos como padres, sus experiencias buenas o malas. Todos nos apoyamos, todos aprendemos de todos, y es un espacio seguro donde nadie los va a juzgar, es confidencial, y ahí los esperamos en Borderland Rainbow Center.
Very good. That's great. So let's talk a little bit about, obviously the parent that either, decides or builds the courage up to go to PFLAG meeting, is already on a path of understanding. It would seem like it would be very clear that they've already taken a very important first step. What advice would you have for a parent just listening, or to a LGBTQ's child who would like their parents to listen to this episode? What advice would you have for somebody that has never entertained the idea of going to a PFLAG meeting? What could they learn by just coming and helping, being a part of the support group?
Well, to the parents, I would tell them, they're always welcome to come. If they don't feel comfortable to come and share their experience or what they're going through in front of a group, they're always welcome to. We can do one-on-one sessions as well until they feel comfortable. That's we can.
Very helpful. Yeah.
Yes. We can do that in English or in Spanish or in whatever they need. We're here for them, and just to let them know that they're not alone. They're not alone. The journey can be a little bit challenging because, to have fear, it's normal. To have a lot of questions is normal. But their child is the same perfect, precious child that they always had. And they're welcome in our meetings to learn and to get support from each other.
That's great.
Yeah. That's really good, Margarita. So, and are there any events or anything else other than the meetings that you all do? Or I guess one of the things that I'm interested in is how can the community at large support PFLAG? If you all have any fundraisers or if there is any kind of system in place to help keep the organization going, talk a little bit about that side of it, the kind of accounting side of things.
Mostly we have our support meetings, and then we're going to have our Thanksgiving event. We do it every year. And then we have our holiday around December event. We do it with the Borderland Rainbow Center. And yes, we get some support from the Borderland Rainbow Center because they have a lot of events too. Mm-hmm. And we have people can become members of PFLAG, and they're always welcome to come to our meetings to share their stories. We always need volunteers, even board members, because we have a very small board right now. So people are welcome to come and join us.
Excellent. And it's set up as a nonprofit organization, so if somebody wanted to make a donation to help support ongoing events, they can certainly do that?
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a website or something that they would be able to do that, or how would they go about doing that?
Yes, there's a website, PFLAG El Paso, or in social media, we have a Facebook account. It's PFLAG El Paso, Instagram, or they can send us an email, pflagelpaso@gmail.com as well. And yes, people are welcome to participate.
That's excellent. One of the reasons we wanted to talk to you about PFLAG this month is that October 11th is National Coming Out Day. And so I'd like to finish our discussion just by asking you, what advice would you give a young person contemplating coming out to their family, given all the experience that you've had talking to parents, all the experience that you've had talking to younger people that struggle with their identity? What advice would you give to a younger person saying, you know what, it's time for me to tell my parents I'm blank, whatever it is, LGBTQ, all of the above, none of the above, whatever the case may be?
Okay, I would tell them that you are perfect, you are precious, you are valid, you are worthy of love, and take your time. Take your time. Do it when it's safe. Do it when you're ready. Don't rush. And do it find your people. Find your safe people. It could be family. Maybe not. It could be a friend. It could be a counselor from school or an organization like PFLAG or BRC. There's people who support you, and there's people who love you. and yes, find your chosen family, maybe.
Right.
Yes, and yes.
I think that's excellent advice. I think that that's true of anybody, not just a young person, but somebody older coming out. Last month we interviewed a man who came out well into his late 40s, and he didn't have too much of an issue at that point. But it's never easy. It's not something that just it's without consequence. There are consequences, but the end result to live your true life is absolutely beautiful.
Exactly. There's nothing to change. You're perfect, and there's nothing to prove to anybody.
Right. Margarita, it has been a real pleasure talking to you. I know that you all are truly doing God's work, whatever God you pray to, because you're showing love.
Thank you.
And you're showing love to fellow parents, to LGBTQ people, and for your community. So for that, we thank you very much for sharing your time with Queer on El Paso.
Thank you for the invitation.
I also want to say that I'm just I find it so remarkable how you all have elevated the parenting role to a whole new level. I think it's remarkable.
Thank you.
Admirable.
Gracias.
I agree.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias a usted.
Thank you.
Gracias a usted.
What an inspiring woman, and what an incredible story of her journey and how she became the president of PFLAG El Paso, and how Margarita shows such love, not only for her transgender daughter, but for almost any child in our community that is looking for support.
Yeah. I mean, it's such an honorable thing that she's doing, because you have to know it's difficult in her own family. And then to have that extension to other members of the community, that's just so admirable of her.
Yeah, it's like she's sharing her lessons as she's learning them herself, and she's learning from other parents. And so it's really a beautiful relationship, and how that creates a real community of people that are going through similar experiences.
And I think it's beautiful also that by taking her own experience, that she's leading parents to help each other and support each other, so that nobody's in it alone, and they are teaching and learning from one another.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found interesting about her is that she's not shy at saying that she struggled at first, and how she had to go through her own process to accept her daughter as a trans woman, and to adjust her own expectations of her child's life. And she's very clear about how she had to go through a process to get to where she is today. And then she brings that understanding to other parents.
I'm sure that honesty also helps people feel welcomed and in their groups, and helps them to understand what's happening with their children. It provides them with a safe environment, I would think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And on top of that, she's just a lovely person. You can see that she is the kind of mother that anybody would be happy to have.
She emanates motherhood and kindness.
And kindness and sweetness. Yes, absolutely. And so to support PFLAG El Paso, you can go to our website, and we'll have a link to theirs, or you can go to pflagelpaso.org. But also, they are supported heavily through the Borderland Rainbow Center. So to support the Borderland Rainbow Center, by extension, is helping PFLAG El Paso and other organizations in our community, as they're kind of the hub. So this is a not too discreet shout out to support the Borderland Rainbow Center and their upcoming fundraiser. They've got a really cool one planned out. Izzy, tell us about that.
That's the Monsters Ball. And this year the theme is Over the Rainbow, which, of course, who doesn't identify the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy with the gay community?
I'm clicking my heels this week.
You just like the sequins.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Although I'm the height of a munchkin, it doesn't.
Come on, ruby red slippers.
Right?
Yeah. Who doesn't want that?
So what do they expect? What can we expect at the event? I know that we'll be there, but tell us about the event itself.
Yeah, the event is on Friday, October 24th, and it is at Artavino's Desert Crossing. And it's going to be a night of costumes and prizes and an auction and a great dinner menu. It's fabulous dancing. And if you know the gay community, we know how to put a costume together. I can tell you that much. I saw some outfits at last year's balls that were extraordinary, and some of them were a little risque.
That's good. So it's a great alternative. One, you're celebrating your particular brand of gayness at Halloween, and nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
It's the Wizard of Oz, and it all goes to a really good cause.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, one of the things why the gay community loves Halloween and dressing up so much is you get to see this little aspect of them that they've been keeping, quiet underneath. But it comes out in their outfits and in their creativity. And suddenly you get a full picture of who that person is.
That explains so many hairy legs and stockings in October. But that's great. And we love to support the Borderland Rainbow Center. They do incredible work for our community. And it's nice that they host PFLAG El Paso. So you can find all that information on our website, queeronda.com, but also on the Borderland Rainbow Center's website and on PFLAG's website. So for this episode, we can just say,
Agarren la onda, queers.
We'd love to hear from you. Email us at feedback@queeronda.com or visit our website and leave a comment. www.queeronda.com. That's www.queeronda.com.